at 6 weeks old, my family packed up our lives and lived in a motorhome and traveled around.
What was it like growing up in that environment?
I don't think I would have made it if I didn't have my faith.
How does life then converge with Life Action?
I was really like, God, what am I supposed to be doing right now? I just had this feeling like, this is it.
Why are activities so important to ministry?
Good question. Yeah, we built like 81 games this year.
Wow.
So my mom, my first year, was diagnosed with cancer.
What was that like for you?
It was really lonely and really hard.
What was the most amazing thing about her? Sounds like an amazing lady.
She was.
Welcome to Changed Lives, a special limited series in which I explore the incredible stories of the people behind the scenes at Life Action, a ministry with a mission of reviving relationships through transformative events. Each of these individuals, my coworkers, have experienced God move in big and unexpected ways. And the more I heard their stories, the more I thought, people need to hear this. In this series, you'll get a first-hand look at how God is working in and through the people of Life Action, the challenges they face, the faith that sustains them, and the lives being transformed along the way. Their stories are powerful. In today's interview, I'm talking with Avanleigh Samples, whose journey to Life Action has been shaped by both challenge and God's faithful direction. You'll hear about the importance of community, faith after loss, and the adventure of finding your own way through Avanleigh's story, leading her to where she is now, serving through our residency program by working with special events and camp activities. As you listen, consider how God might use you. Life Action continues to invest in the next generation because of people like Avanleigh and friends like you who step out boldly to make ministry possible. Let's jump in. Why don't we start with this? Talk about, how do you answer the question, what do you do for Life Action?
I am the Activities and Soulmates Coordinator, so I work with our activities team, planning all of the activities we do at our camp, and I also help Dell do all of our Soulmates.
Okay. You get to do all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. You bring the fun, you bring the games, you bring the coordination.
Yes.
All right, good. Talked about your name being Avanleigh, but really your name isn't Avanleigh. That's your middle name?
It is my middle name.
Okay. But that's the name you go by here.
It is, yes.
And people know you by.
Yeah, it's the name I've gone by my whole life.
Oh, okay.
My parents named us, all of my siblings, with the intentions of calling us by our middle names. So, yeah, only like the first day of school and new jobs did they ever call me Jaden. And then I was like, actually, I don't go by that. So,
okay, great. Well, you're definitely an Avanleigh.
thank you.
That's for sure. All right, so you mentioned your parents. Let's go backwards. So tell me, where are you from? What was life like growing up?
I was born in Georgia, and then at 6 weeks old, me and my family packed up our lives and lived in a motorhome and traveled around. And then we ended up in Idaho.
What were you traveling around doing? Like,
my parents were missionaries, and they were planning on planting a church. So they were traveling around raising money and raising support. And then we ended up in Idaho, and that's where we started 2 churches. So.
Wow. Okay. So it was your parents and you. Did you have siblings?
Yes, I have 2 older brothers and then a twin sister.
Oh, wonderful. So they put 2 6-week-old twins with 2 older boys in a travel camper.
Yeah.
They're brave souls.
Yeah.
That's where you get your adventurous spirit from.
Yeah.
Huh?
And we were all under the age of 4.
Oh
so.
my gosh. Bless your mom. And so you traveled around, and were they traveling to locations of people they knew to try to raise support? Is that what the plan was?
to different churches. I'm pretty sure my dad was like preaching at different churches and just telling them all about what they were trying to do.
Okay. So eventually they do plant a church, and where that church is in Idaho?
Yes, Sandpoint, Idaho. It's the very top of Idaho near Canada.
Okay. So are your earliest memories then from that area?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So what was life like growing up there?
It was very different. Looking back now, it's very different from like anywhere else I've ever lived because whether they were Mormon or they didn't know anything about God at all and they never went to church. So we literally started from nothing. So my parents had to meet people and like introduce them and, like get to know them and then invite them to church. And my parents were the only 2 on staff, so they didn't have any help.
Have you ever asked them what caused them to want to do this?
No, I actually haven't. I probably should do that. But yeah, it was definitely crazy. We did all like, we originally started in a Motel 6. That's where our church was.
Okay.
And then we got a building. And then that church stayed in that building. And then eventually we moved into our house. So that's actually where I got saved, is on our couch.
Okay, so tell me that story.
It was a Mother's Day. I was probably 5 or 6. And I was sitting on our couch, and my dad was preaching, and all of our church people were in our living room. And I just realized, like, Jesus did die for me. I'd heard it, but it just made sense that day. So it was the best Mother's Day present I could have given my mom.
I guess so.
Yeah.
So with that type of life, what was it like growing up in that environment?
It was interesting. I mean, they were trying to figure out how to raise children and start a church, and in an environment where they didn't really have a lot of help. But it was good.
Yeah, pioneers, really. And so did the church grow?
It did grow. It never got really big, but we did have lots of people come. My dad was also a baseball coach, so his players would come and their families, and they would do events to reach out to them. But
okay. And then you said they'd planted a second church?
Yes. So it was actually like a more of a off branch of the church that we did start, because we ended up moving a couple hours south to Boise, which is the capital, to that area. And so we rebranded our church and started it there. So
how old were you when that happened?
Probably 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
So still pretty early on. And then is that where you all stay planted for a while?
So when I was about 10, we moved to Georgia, back to Georgia.
Okay.
So, all right. And then we stayed there for a little bit and moved to Florida. Okay. And that's where we've been.
So it was about a 10-year adventure. And then you moved back to Georgia because family?
Yes.
In that area?
That's where all of our family lived.
Okay. All right. And what do you remember about that time, about moving back to Georgia and life?
It was really sad. We were all so sad to leave Idaho and all of our friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was hard, but it was an adventure. So it was fun. And then we settled in Georgia for a little bit, and then eventually moved to Florida because of my dad's job.
Okay. So was your dad still preaching at that time?
No.
Okay. So once he gets to Georgia, then he does something else?
Yeah, he was doing construction or mechanicking or something else, but
okay.
Yeah.
And so then the family moves to Florida.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So were you homeschooled the whole time?
I've done almost every possible school you could do. We were homeschooled, and then we started a school through our church with a couple of the other kids, and then we did public school, online school. So,
which one's your favorite?
I really like public school just because it was
girl.
Lots of stuff to do. But I also really liked online school because we could just do whatever we wanted. Like, you get your school done and you could do whatever. So.
Yeah. No, I'm always curious because people who sit at this table have so many different educational experiences. Yeah. So it's wonderful to hear. It's wonderful to hear people who've had wonderful public school experiences. You know? Yeah. So, because there's a lot of opportunity within that realm to make friends and to be the light in that community as well. So, very cool. All right. So then what's the plan? Like, by the time you get to Florida, are you high school age?
I was in the 6th grade.
Okay. All right.
So starting middle school.
Okay. So starting middle school. And what do you think you're going to do with your life at that point?
I don't know. I was just really focused on, like, making friends, and because we'd moved around a lot as a kid, so I wasn't unfamiliar with, like, being the new kid, so just settling in and figuring that out.
Are you stay there through high school?
No.
Okay. So you move again from Florida?
We moved a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. So around I think it was 7th grade, my parents got divorced.
Okay.
So that caused just a lot of chaos in my life.
I can imagine.
And then halfway through 9th grade, we moved. And I went to like 3 schools in my freshman year.
Wow.
Yeah. One of them was online, so it wasn't as crazy.
Okay.
But
when you say we, do you mean with your mom?
Yeah, my mom and my siblings. And then we finally moved to Palatka, Florida, which is where all my family lives now.
Okay.
My sophomore year. And we've been there ever since.
So. Were you moving because your mom was trying to find like a different job or a different career? Or?
Yeah, it was a lot of that and just trying to figure out where we needed to be. So.
And what was it like then, post-separation then? Now you're living with your mom. What was that like for you?
It was hard. Her and my dad they had been fighting for a long time, so it was just like it was kind of a relief, honestly, because they were better when they were not together. And then me and my sister, especially because we were younger, had to go to my dad's every other weekend, which he lived 3 hours away. So that was just a lot of back and forth.
Did that experience impact your faith? And if so, how?
Honestly, I was thinking about this the other day. I don't think I would have like made it if I didn't have my faith and believing in Jesus. Like, it was so hard. My siblings did stray a little bit, my older brothers especially, because there was a point where they were having to work to help my mom pay the bills and all of that. So they struggled. But just looking back, I was just thankful that I had my faith because it was hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. It's a pretty young age, right? And to be experiencing that. And so once you're cemented in that area and you're in high school and you're thinking about the future, what did you want to do with your life?
I really wanted to be a psychologist for a long time. My mom was working towards being a psychologist.
Had she gone back to school to do that? Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to just help people, like be a counselor, because that's what my mom had done. My whole life, she was a domestic violence advocate. So she worked with women of domestic violence. And just seeing the way she interacted with the women and were just so helpful, I wanted to do something similar to that.
I can see how that would be impactful. Why do you think she chose that field?
She always just had a heart for people that needed help. She worked at a pregnancy center for a really long time, helping young moms, and that was just her passion.
And so that's the plan. That's what you want to do. But how does life then converge with Life Action?
Yeah. So I am 19 years old. It's in the middle of COVID. All of the churches are shut down.
Yeah.
I'm working at Burger King. Me and my sister have been working there for about a year. We were doing online school, so we could work full time and then do school. It was really fun. And I met a boy, and we started dating, and I started going to his church because they were like the first church to really open during COVID. And so I started going to church with him, started getting really involved, and I met our college leaders. Yeah. And so I just got really close to them. I left to go to college, and then God shut that door. My financial aid fell through. So I was like, what am I supposed to be doing?
So you left to go to college? Did you attend college, or you left to go and it didn't work, or what happened?
I left to attend, and I was there for a little while, but not very long. And then they were like, yeah, your financial aid actually isn't gonna cut it. And we're like, oh, okay. So I ended up going back home. It wasn't far. I went to college in St. Augustine for a little bit. And then that relationship ended, and I was really like, God, what am I supposed to be doing right now? And I'd always felt called to ministry because how I was raised, and I just saw the importance of it. And whenever all of that happened, I was so confused. I was like, what am I supposed to be doing? So one night we were at Bible study, and they said, well, we have some really cool news to tell y'all. We're leaving to join this ministry called Life Action, and it's college-age students, and we travel around the country and all of this stuff. And I was like, what? Like, I was crying with them because I'm just an emotional person. But they thought I was crying because I was sad that they were leaving. But I just had this feeling like, this is it. So that night I went home. I had not told anybody in my family, and I applied.
So you just felt like, I'm going with.
Yeah.
This sounds like what I want to do. So you applied.
Yes.
And what did you apply to do?
To be a children's minister.
Okay. All right. And you didn't tell anybody?
I did not tell anybody.
Right. So then how does that
And
go?
then like 2 or 3 days later, I was in my mom's office at her house, and I was like, Mom, I think I'm leaving. And she was like, what? I was like, yeah, I think I'm leaving. And she was like, what are you talking about? So I was telling her about this ministry, and I was like, I just feel like this is what God has for me. Like, I didn't even been accepted yet, but I just feel like this is it. And so she was like, okay. And so we sat down at dinner that night with my sister and my mom and my stepdad and talked about what it was and what it was going to look like. And I was like, I really have no idea. This is what I know, and that's it.
Here's the website, Mom.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, I really don't know what I'm signing up for, but I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do. So, yeah.
So luckily, you got accepted.
Yes.
And were you nervous?
I was, yeah. But it was easier knowing that I knew some people.
Okay.
So
Right. And so that then is 2020?
2021.
2021. So then you come up here to Michigan
Yep.
for the summer for training. What was that like?
I got picked up from the airport by 5 team members. So that was nice to just like get to meet them, and they showed me around camp and everything. And the second I stepped on camp, I was just like so at peace and so excited. And then we started training, and it was chaotic and so much fun.
Yeah. It's a special place out there.
It is,
isn't it?
yeah.
For a lot of people, as soon as they step on it, they're like,
Yeah.
okay. And so what team did you join?
I joined Red Team.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And who were the leaders at that time?
It was actually a transition year, so it was Brent and Maggie Paulus.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And so walk me through, what was that year like?
So training, we left training, and I was like, I'm so prepared. Like, children's ministry training really prepares you for any scenario. So I was so ready, and I was excited. And then we got to our first church, and I was just like, what is happening? Because on the road, you don't realize, like, once you're on the road, things are going to be, like, there's going to be a specific schedule, and you're going to do this and this. And I was like, we have another meeting? Like, what do you mean? We just had a meeting. So I was very confused, and, like, it was very chaotic. But I got into the rhythm very fast.
Okay.
And it was so much fun.
You loved it. What did you love about it?
Just the community. Like, you were never not with somebody, never not laughing. There was always people around, stuff to do. And the different kids that we got to teach, they're so funny. They're so funny.
Yeah. And you're an extrovert naturally. So you just probably thrived in that environment. Talk about your host home experience. Did you like that part of it?
That was my favorite part,
Okay,
actually.
so why?
Yeah. Just because you get to meet new people. And, like, at first I was a little worried. Like, you don't know who you're going to meet or where you're going to be. But literally, like, you go into a host home, you meet them. And it might be a little awkward at first, but by the next day, you're, like, so comfortable. And it feels like they're your family.
Yeah.
So it's just cool to see how, as you travel, you meet different parts of the body of Christ, and it's just like your family. So,
well, your upbringing trained you for that, right? Moving around and having to be in new environments. So you were like, this is no problem.
Yeah.
What was it like to go into different churches?
That was also very cool, just seeing the different dynamics. 'Cause some churches you'd come into and you would meet all of the staff and meet all of the people, and you just see where they were spiritually or emotionally. And then sometimes it was really healthy and things were going good, and that was really great. Or sometimes it wasn't, and you'd get to see how God would work in that church that week.
Can you think of any examples that stick out in your mind?
Yes. So one of the churches we went to was in Seymour, Indiana. And that week I was obviously with the kids, and God was just doing a lot of stuff in the sanctuary during services and really moving, like, really clearly. And I was just feeling really discouraged. I was like, we don't get to see this. Like, we're just, which, so I said it out loud to my teammates. I was like, I feel discouraged because I want to see this. Like, it doesn't feel like there's much happening with the kids and all that. Well, that night at worship, the pastor got up and was like, I just really feel like I just need to share the gospel right now. And so we're all like, just listening to him talk, and a little girl grabs her mom's hand and drags her to the altar. And then 7 other kids get saved that night during worship. So we're all crying, and I was like, oh, see, he hears you. God hears you. And I was like, oh. So yeah,
sweet.
It was awesome.
How was your relationship with Jesus strengthened during that time?
Yeah. I mean, I just got to see the ways that he worked. I'd always, especially growing up, was thankful for the ways he would provide. And I even got a tattoo that says Jehovah Jireh. And just seeing the ways that he provided on the road, and, like, just his promises of he will provide. And even when it was like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to make this through? Even when it was just us, like, we were like, how are we going to teach this lesson? Like, we're so tired, or we don't know what's going to happen. He just provided in every way.
Give me an example of, like, how in the heck did that happen?
Yeah. The one that comes to my mind, we were still in Seymour, and it was a setup day. I think it was the Saturday. And we were setting up, and there was just so much to do. And it was just like, how are we going to get this all done? Like, I feel so overwhelmed. Like, I don't think this is going to happen. And we do a musical on the road for the kids called Naaman. And it's about the life of Naaman. and how God healed him. And I was just so, like, I was like, how are we going to fit this in and do all of these things and, like, make it where it's good? And so we ended up fitting in the practice and doing all of that. And I still was just like, I don't know if this is going to get across to the kids. I feel like every time we did name it, honestly, we were just like, is this going to work where it gets to the kids and they understand? And every time, even in our tiredness, even when we would argue during practice, God just made it work where every time we performed it, it was just, it went off without any issues. So
you are with people constantly.
Yes.
So what did you learn about yourself, and what did you learn about living in community?
Yeah. I did learn that I do sometimes need to be alone, which that was not normal for me. I love being around people. A big thing I learned was about confrontation and forgiveness. I hate confrontation. I've always hated confrontation. I don't want to tell somebody when they hurt me or do something that annoys me. And that's something they really teach you on the road, especially Brent. Like, he was like, you can't just sit here and be like, this person hurt me, and just, they can't read your mind. So just learning how to do that and being like, hey, like, this is how this came across. This is what I've seen. Is this how this is? And then asking for forgiveness was a very big thing.
What was it like being on the road with Maggie and Brent?
It was so awesome. They're so fun. Yeah.
They just seemed to have poured
Yeah.
so much
They did.
into the team members.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have your first year. Are you planning on going back?
Yeah.
So
I didn't think, I really didn't think 1 year was going to be all for me. And so we have to decide in February if we're going to travel again. And I traveled my second year as the lead of Happy Heart.
Okay. And was that a different year? Did it feel different? Does it stick out as different in your mind?
Yeah, it was a little harder. That year was just a little harder. Just, there was a lot of different things. But it was fun. We got to go to Idaho, so that was cool to go back after all of these years. And just, it was good. It was a good year.
Yeah. Then do you up again for it?
I do.
All right.
Yeah.
So how many years total? 3. Okay. So your third year, you're like, let's do it again.
Yeah.
All right. And what was your experience like that year?
It was really good. So my mom had, my first year was diagnosed with stage 3 esophageal cancer.
Was that a surprise?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was your first year?
My first year.
Okay.
So I went home for a little bit my first year to just be with her. She was extremely healthy when she was diagnosed. She was just struggling with a little bit of pain when she would eat. And she had been struggling with that for a while, and they couldn't figure out what it was. They finally found out it was her cancer. So through my second year, she was doing good. She was very healthy.
She was treatments and...
Okay. She did chemo and radiation. And then when I came back from my second year during the summer, she wasn't doing very good. She was very weak, lost a lot of weight, just really struggling. So I stayed with her until August. So I didn't go to staff training my third year. I stayed with her and just was with her and helped her around. And then my third year, we went to 2 churches, our first 2 churches, and then I got a call that she was in the hospital and that they thought she was going to have to get her gallbladder taken out. And she was just really weak. So I was like, I don't really love that idea of being in Arkansas while you're going under anesthesia. So I went home, and then I didn't come back until the second semester. So I was with her from October 3rd until she passed away, November 24th.
That's so hard.
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
It was really lonely and really hard. Yeah. My dad was working and my sister was working. My sister had just gotten married in July of that year. And she's a firefighter, so her schedule's crazy. And so it just felt right that I would come home because everybody else had to work. And so I got to be with her. But she was sleeping most of the days, and so it was just sitting there really watching her breathe. And it was really hard. My friends and my teammates really reached out to me, though, and made sure I wasn't alone and would call me and stuff. But it was still hard because we're in and out of the hospital, and in and out of doctor's offices trying to figure out what was going on. Thankfully, she wasn't in pain until I think it was October 10th. She woke up in pain, and we were like, "What? This has to be something new. Like, this has to be something else because you haven't had pain your entire 2 years of fighting this cancer." So, that was just a battle of like going back and forth with doctors, and they did think it was her gallbladder, and then 5 minutes later another doctor would come in and be like, "It's not her gallbladder," and we're like, what is going on? So it was just a struggle of back and forth, but
Yeah. Those, I'm sure that you're so thankful that you were there
yeah,
those last months with her. And I'm sure she was so thankful
yeah,
that you were there. Always, Jesus is with us during those hard times. What was the sweetness in that time?
yeah. Um, Honestly, just getting to hear stories that we just talk about really anything. And also my nephew, um, he was like 8 or 9 months old, and she had to get a feeding tube, and he was scared of it, so he didn't really want to be around her. And the day we got the really bad news that it was like, because we had been told that her cancer was only 2 spots in her liver, because it metastasized. And so we were like, okay, like, we can fight this. Her doctor was telling us we could fight this. And then we went to a different hospital, and they did a scan, and they showed us her liver, and it was like the entire thing except a small section. And they were like, she doesn't have long. So that day we called everybody, and we're like, come, you just need to come to the hospital. And my nephew, when they brought him in, he reached for her, and she just got to hold him. It was really sweet.
That is so sweet. I bet that just was everything for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really hard to lose your mom that young. Thanks for sharing that with me.
Yeah.
Sounds like an amazing lady.
She was.
Yeah. What was the most amazing thing about her? I'm sure there's 100 things to choose from.
The way that she would just like walk into anywhere and make friends. Like, she would make friends with somebody, and then somehow it would end up like she would have all these connections with this person in like 5 minutes. And we're like, how did you do that? Like, we'd be in Walmart grocery shopping, and she would like walk past somebody and start talking to them about something, and then they would have this connection, and it was just amazing the way that she was able to do that.
You get that from her.
Yeah.
And so your teammates really came around you during that time. And so God had given you this community to help you. Probably pretty hard to leave home and go back out on the road.
Yeah.
But you did. Was that an important thing for you to do?
Originally I didn't think I was.
Yeah.
I was like, my mom just died. I'm not doing that. Like, why would I go back? Like,
sure.
I don't want to. And then I had a conversation with a friend, and it just kind of changed my perspective, because they asked me, they're like, well, have you asked God like what he wants you to do? And I was like, well, no. I was just like, I'm not doing it. So that just changed my perspective on it, and I decided, yeah, it was probably good, because at the time I was living with my stepdad and my brother, and I mean, I didn't have anything to do at home, so it was good for me to go back and be around my community, and just to have something to do. And so, I'm really glad I went back.
Yeah. And just to be in community while you're grieving was probably helpful. And the pace probably helped as well. Did you have a different perspective on life after that?
Yeah.
Like, is there like a pre-post type of thing where you just look at things differently?
Yeah, I think so. There was a lot of different things happen in life, but on the road, like, stuff would get canceled or things would change. Like, they always say, staple your plans in Jell-O. That's something I heard a lot my first year.
That's funny.
Because it just changed. You never know when it's going to change. So things that, like, seemed really, things that were little, but, could change the way you feel about things, like your attitude and stuff. I just was like, well, it doesn't really matter.
Perspective.
Yeah, like, I didn't see those things as a big deal anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes when you walk through the most difficult things, then trivial things kind of lose their power.
Yeah.
Right? It's like in the big scheme of things.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever would make me mad or
Yeah.
annoyed, I was just like, okay.
Yeah. Where did Jesus meet you in this time?
He was just with me. Like, because, I mean, all I could do was sit there, really. I mean, I learned how to give her medicine and all of the things, but most of the time I was just sitting there. Like, she was sleeping and I was just there. So just knowing that I wasn't alone, I talked to him a lot and I prayed a lot because I was so scared. Like, I was scared that she was going to die when I was just by myself. And so that was scary, like, not knowing.
Yeah.
And there was days when she would be so good, like, things were going so good, and, like, even weeks where we were like, okay, this is looking up.
Yeah.
And then something would happen and we're like, okay, well, there was never a moment, though, that I was like, she's about to, like, this is it, until the very end. So that was, and just the whole last week of her life was really a blessing. So.
And probably comforting to know that she knew Jesus too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after that, and you're back out on the road, now what do you think you'll do? Because there is a part, if someone's so important to you, who is probably your home.
Yeah.
How does that change, or what do you think now you'll want to do with life, right? At that point, probably caused you to think through those things.
I honestly was just, as I was traveling, I was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to keep traveling. They had told us that Red Team was gonna disperse that after that year, so I was like, I don't know if I want to try and get to know, like, the rhythms of a new team.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I was done with Life Action, so I was like, I don't know if there's a job opportunity that I could find here at Life Action, but I just knew I really loved this area.
Okay.
And I didn't want to leave Michigan. I had talked to my leadership and I was like telling them, they do like an exit interview, and they were like, so is there any interest of like still staying with Life Action? I was like, yeah. So that's how I ended up being here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the role supposed to be?
It was going to be the special events coordinator.
Okay.
So I was going to be working under Lori. And that's what I ended up coming on as through the residency program.
Talk about the residency program.
The way that they told me about it was a way for team members to come off the road and it not just be like so abrupt. Because, I mean, you're with people 24/7 every day, and then you're just back at home, like trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
So it's like a transition period.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have the residency program, because it would have been just like abrupt. Like, where am I going? What am I doing?
Sure.
So it's been a blessing.
So what has your experience been with the residency program?
It's been really good. I've really enjoyed, we would meet with Jimmy once a month, or once a week, not a month. It was kind of just like figuring out where you wanted to work. So like they might move you around a little bit. But then once you find a place that works really well, that's where you stay.
So kind of like an internship in a way, where you're able to try out, you know that you want to stay with the ministry, you know you want to do ministry, but it's like this internship time period where you can figure out where your talents might be best utilized. And then you get to stay here, right? Like, so housing, and you get food, and you get mentorship and training, and like really like on the job type of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so special events coordinator, you're helping with events that are out at the camp. And what did you love about that?
I just loved working with different people. I worked with Together Chicago, which is a ministry from Chicago, and that was so much fun.
Yeah.
Just being there and being able to help people make what they want their event to be, to happen. So.
And then that's not what you are necessarily doing today.
Yeah.
So talk about the transition to what you do now.
So during the summer, I transitioned to helping in the art box. So that was my first summer. That's what I was doing. And then as we came out of the summer, they were like, actually, we really need somebody to be with the activities guys. So that's what I switched over to that.
To the activities guys.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that's a fun crew.
It is. It's a very fun crew. They always make me laugh.
Yeah.
So that's what I started doing. And then I also was doing Soulmates. So.
Okay. All right. So what is your job now? You talked about being there. So like, tell me some of the things that Avanleigh might do on a normal day.
So activities wise, it's always changing. Like the other day we were painting, building. It's really cool because I actually get to help build things.
Yeah.
We have brainstorming sessions, which a lot of that looks like watching Dude Perfect videos, which it is very productive. Right. It does not seem productive when you walk in our office and we're all watching Dude Perfect, but we get lots of good ideas. So
you guys do bring a lot of ideas. Why are activities so important to ministry?
Good question. Yeah. I think it's just because they bring families together. Like, everybody wants to have fun. So it gives families a time to bond, to laugh together, and to connect. And it's really cool to watch, like, oh, we built that, and they get to figure out how to work together to get it done.
Yeah.
So
have you seen families come together for that?
Yeah.
Like, what are some of your favorite memories or stories about that?
This summer we did tennis ball buddies. So every family got a tennis ball, and just seeing the way that they would come together to create their tennis ball was crazy. They were like, I was expecting people to like it, but like not as much as they liked it. Like, they were so creative. Somebody turned their tennis ball into Teddy Roosevelt on a horse, Bluey, a dragon, like all different kinds of things.
And they would take the tennis ball with them all throughout
everywhere.
The week?
Yeah. Just the way that they use that to be creative and to spend time together was really cool.
Yeah, so fun and so silly and simple, but like really family bonding. Yeah, people talked about those all summer long.
They did.
Tell me your favorite game that you guys have all created so far.
Ooh, that's a hard one. We built like 81 games this year.
Wow.
I think one of my favorites is because I really helped build it. We have a tilt maze, so there's 4 people on each side, and they have to tilt the maze, and one person's leading them, and they're all blindfolded. So that's just...
It's very Survivor.
It is, and it's fun.
Tell me about a game that flopped.
Ooh. We had a game called Bolt Putt, which we did for an in-session game for Momentum, and it worked, but it just took a long time, because there's this whole cage thing we built, and there's a ball in it, and there's these bolts that you have to undo so the ball will fall. And then you have to put a ball into a little hole. And so the main reason it flopped is because it took so long for them to putt it. Like, gotcha. Nobody ever could make it in. So we tilted and made it bolt ball. So then instead they just have to shoot a basket.
Yeah.
And it worked out.
You guys do a lot of improvising.
We do.
On the fly. You don't have your Ring of Fire story yet, but I have a feeling
there
will be one coming.
Yes.
You know, I did hear that a hatchet was buried in the sand and lost during...
We did find it.
Okay, good.
But yes. They were like, we're going to bury hatchets in the sand. And I was like, and then what? And they're like, then they're going to dig for it. And I was like, okay. All right.
Hey, a little element of danger and surprise is good for any game.
And then we switched it to where there's a coin buried. So they have to find the coin, and then we have the hatchets. And I was like, that's safer.
Again, sometimes these are lessons we have to learn on the fly. And so with Soulmates, talk a little bit about your involvement with that.
I get to send out the test to all of the participants and talk with the church coordinator. So it's been good.
And Soulmates has really taken off.
It is, yeah.
Soulmates are our marriage workshop that right now is led by Dell. And a lot of churches seem to be really interested in bringing this event to really invest in their marriages in their church. So it's exciting to see that and exciting to see the transformation that's happening through that. So now you're here and you want to be here.
I do.
What are your plans? Like, when you think about the future and being right here at Life Action in Southwest Michigan, what do you dream about?
Well, I'm working on raising support. So my main goal is to be fully supported very soon.
Is that hard?
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
So walk me through, like, what have been your challenges? What is it like raising support?
Yeah. My biggest challenge so far has just been time, because during summer camp, it's so crazy. There's no time. So now that we're slowing down, I've been able to sit down and they tell you to write this long, long list of people, anybody you can think of in your entire life. So doing that is very time consuming. So I just finished that. And I wrote a letter that I'm going to send out. And honestly, the hardest part for me is like the talking about it, like telling people like, this is what I'm doing and I would love for you to support me. Yeah.
Yeah. Why is that hard?
It's just intimidating. Like, I don't know. And they really tell you like face to face is the best, which I believe that. But it's also hard because most of my people are scattered across the United States.
Sure. Yeah, you've moved around.
Yeah.
So what's your pitch? Like, what are you telling people that you do? Because you are a stateside missionary. You actually are doing the work that brings families together at these events. So why should people support that?
Somebody told me, they explained that to me. They're like, you are a stateside missionary. Like, they get to be a part of what God is doing through you. And I think that is the biggest thing, that it's hard sometimes for people to get that. But like, once you explain, like, you're helping me to minister to all these families, it makes it easier.
It's hard to say I come up with games and but that's just the mechanism that God uses to then use that through you to be able to minister these families who we have families coming here who are in great spots. We have families coming here who are in rough spots.
Yeah.
And we see the surveys every week of families who kind of came here as their last-ditch effort and who walk out of family camp with a renewed sense of purpose and love and togetherness, and that God has a plan for their marriage and their family. And it's so transformational. And a lot of it comes back to, like, we were just able to spend time together, quality time together. And the games facilitate that because all of the games are so intentionally planned. It's not like you're just, well, this would be fun. There's so much more intention behind that. There's like, how can we have mom and dad and the kids work together and prove that they can work together for a common goal? And that's really what they're doing with their marriage and their family. So it's like bringing that to a fun level. And sometimes that causes that epiphany that happens. So yeah. I think that's really exciting that you get to be a part of that. I've talked with all the activities guys about that intention behind the games, which I think is really special. So your hope is to gain support. And so if anyone is listening and they would love to support Avanleigh, you would encourage that.
Yes, I would. Please.
Yeah, you would encourage that. Because you're just starting out on this missionary career. And you had mentioned your mom just always wanted to give back and always wanted to give back. And it seems like you get that from her. And why do you think Jesus put that on your heart? Like, why do you think you're bent that way?
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's just because that's how Jesus was. Like, he looked for those who were hurting. He looked for those who were lonely. And I've always had a desire to be more like Jesus. And watching my mom be like Jesus was really important.
Well, you are the next generation of leaders here at Life Action. You know, there is going to be this next wave that has to take over for all the old timers. You're in that wave. There's a group of you all who are traveled on the road and are committed to seeing this mission through. What about this mission that we have here at Life Action resonates with you?
I think that it's just important because we're reviving relationships, and you can't pour out of something that's empty. We pour in so that they can have something. And I think that's really important, and especially for the families. And I've seen it all across the country of people just being empty and taking intentional time to pour God's word into them and just help them to see all of the things, like you have to forgive, you have to be humble, you have to be all of our 7 responses. It's been really awesome.
Well, thanks for doing what you do. And thanks for being here and being a part of the Life Action family. Thanks for listening to this episode of Changed Lives. If you were encouraged or inspired by what you heard, I want to invite you to take the next step. You can support the people whose story you just heard and others like them by visiting lifeaction.org/changedlives. Whether through prayer, giving, or sharing these stories, you can be part of what God is doing to revive relationships and transform lives.